Welcome to the Really Big Fucking Podcast, where the topics are made up and the opinions don't matter. I am Poet.
And I'm Bino.
And we're going to talk about some stuff today. We got some 6 Invitational recaps, looking ahead to Year 4, and some other stuff down the line. Bino, what do you want to talk about the 6 Invitational?
Well, first off, we got to talk about how G2 was saving strats.
I mean, they were.
100%. It has been confirmed via Twitter,
via tweet.
Fabian. And honestly, it was kind of hilarious how many people were just so adamant that they weren't saving strats.
Yeah.
Despite how, patently obvious it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean,
and it was.
Hindsight's 20/20, I guess. But, at the same time, should have known.
I mean, I feel vindicated for sure, because I was one of the people that said that they were absolutely saving strats. You know, flying in the face of what high profile, personalities in the community were saying, like Intero and Kicks, straight up laughing at that opinion on stream, saying, no, they're not saving strats. So I feel good about that. It doesn't matter in the end. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who's right, but you were right.
Yeah. It was patently obvious if you go back and look at their match against Ents, for example, where they did not drone at all. They basically played it even worse than people play ranked. They just weren't, they were relying purely on game sense and gun skill, and they got shredded. So
yeah, and also if you just watch the finals versus Empire, right off the bat, just how wacky their strats are. Because, if you go to the border match, I mean, well, first off, let's rewind and go to the coastline match,
sure.
map 1.
Best match of the whole tournament.
Yeah, for sure. I was already saying that this is the best match on coastline I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Before it went to overtime. So the fact that I got twice as many rounds after that to watch was...
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was
so nice.
It was the greatest. And I knew it was going to be a good match. I was disappointed that coastline was up first, to be honest, because Empire has a really strong coastline, and I said this going in. But I thought that they were going to take that off G2, and they had a really good shot at it.
Yeah,
but I think that G2's experience in multi-match land environments really carried them through that, and they just attritioned them to death basically, and just outlasted them. And honestly, once they lost the coastline match, it was pretty much over.
Yeah, at that point, that's so rough to go that many rounds and lose.
Yeah, that's insane.
Although honestly, getting on to my next point about border was that. So round 1, they defended workshop and vents.
Right.
And then round 2, they go tellers. So that right there tells me they were clearly saving strats.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so on top of the fact that it made it obvious that they were saving strats, the strats that they saved were fucking cool.
Yeah, they really were.
They played border so interestingly. Just from the sites that they went to the ways they took, they were unstoppable on border.
Mm-hmm. They were. It was a bit of a slaughter after the coastline 22 round war.
Yeah.
And border was really cool. And the strats that they were just mixing them up. I honestly think that they were just feeling it and just hey, let's throw them all the curveballs that we've been why save strats if you're not going to use them?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was cool that Empire even got to the finals, and they made a lot of money just getting to the finals. So good for them. I mean, coming out of Challenger League last season, making virtually no money, if any, and then to come in and place second at the 6 Invitational, the largest tournament to date for Rainbow Six, I think that's really, really good for them.
Yeah, and especially going up against a team that spends just the sheer amount of time on learning this crazy stuff. Apparently it was Shaz's idea to just I forget which map it was. I think it might have been border that they were banning all season long. and then just in the background hiding all these strats for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just
Yeah,
pull it out at the grand finals.
I don't remember seeing them play border for a long time. I haven't seen G2 play border in forever.
And then I'm blanking. What was map 3? Was it Oregon?
Dude, I don't know.
Am I a total fraud?
There was so many games on. I don't even remember what map 3 was.
Well, give me 1 second. I tell you. But while we wait to get to there, the like rewinding back to the reciprocity match, and then also who'd they play right before reciprocity? I've got it pulled up here. Oh yeah, Space Station. So like Space Station actually gave them a run for their money. It took them to the third map, and then they got up against reciprocity, and they just like put reciprocity in their place, which was it was honestly kind of disappointing.
So map 3 was Bank, by the way.
Bank. Okay. Man, I must have been out of it for that one. But
it was a long weekend.
Yeah. But after seeing the way that EG just kind of crumbled reciprocity, you were really hoping that reciprocity could actually put a dent in G2 at least. And they just didn't.
Well, I think that was EG losing that match more than reciprocity winning it. And
agreed.
And then, I mean, once reciprocity beat EG, we all pretty much knew that G2 was going to beat reciprocity. I mean,
yeah,
reciprocity is a good team and they're showing signs of life, but I think everybody sort of banked on EG as the G2 killers, you know, the potential.
Yeah, and I think
but even
EG,
Space Station put up a really good fight against G2, I think.
Yeah, I just think Space Station in general is just more talented than reciprocity, just player by player and whole squad. And it was disappointing to see the team that you know could probably put up at least a bit of a fight against G2, being EG. Like, you see them
as they have
lose
in the past,
to this team reciprocity that is like I don't want to harp on it too much, but they just seemed like they did not know what they were doing the entire tournament, and they just kept falling like ass backwards into a win. Like, I was never once impressed by like anything they did the whole tournament long.
No, and you could tell during the G2 match that reciprocity, they not necessarily gave up, but they kind of just were memeing at a certain point, like doing dumb runouts and stupid roaming strategies and stuff, just doing stuff that they were like, oh well, we're gonna lose anyway, we might as well have fun, you know.
Yeah, like G2 is just more disciplined, I think. I assume that's what it came down to.
The most disciplined. I mean,
yeah. Like if
they have 5 of the best players in the world and they all play like it.
Yeah. Honestly, so somebody posted on, I think the Pro League subreddit today, they just asked if you could like take any 5 players and make a team out of them, which 5 would you pick? Like, I would honestly just pick all 5 of the players on G2.
Yeah, probably.
Because no other 5 players is going to work that well together.
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. And there's only a couple teams that even know how to kind of play against them, even a little bit. And apparently one of them is SSG.
Yeah, I guess so. SSG is they're a quote unquote LAN team, right? They show up in the LAN tournaments more than in the online seasons, and that really sort of came to fruition in this tournament because, I mean, hey, they took a map off G2. That's more than any other team can say.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the group stage. Yeah, G2 2-0'd Mantis, and then they 2-0'd Mocket. So the only map that they lost this entire tournament was against Space Station.
Yeah, and there are honestly a lot of matches that could have been grand finals, like more than the grand. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Coastline match was amazing, but the Border and Bank were kind of one-sided.
Empire versus Norengo was really good.
Yeah, Empire versus Norengo was fantastic. That could have been a final, just with how intense that match was. Space Station G2 could have been the final. Reciprocity toppling EG, that could have been a great final to watch.
Although it
not for EG fans.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been as fun to watch necessarily, just because like I don't think either team played that great. But it was close, and it was kind of hype.
Yeah.
It was just also soul crushing, at least for me.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of surprised and disappointed EG fans. I mean, I was certainly surprised. I didn't expect it to go that way, but
yeah,
the way that the brackets were set up, it was kind of looking bad for NA. You had, on one side 3 NA teams in G2,
yeah.
so great for that, and then on the other side, both APAC teams went up against each other in the first round. So that's not. I understand the way that the seeding, shook out. That's just how it was. But I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Those brackets were, kind of lame.
This is I honestly couldn't even think of a worse bracket to make.
No, it'd be tough.
It's literally the worst possible situation. The only better situation would have been if G2 played EG first round, just because then we'd at least get to see it happen.
Yeah, but I also think that a lot of people would like to see that as a final.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, SSG playing against G2 as well as they did was pretty awesome. So I guess I
agree.
I guess I'll have the consolation prize of getting to watch SSG almost beat G2.
That was a fantastic game. And then I don't know if you caught. Well, of course you caught this, but the using the Cav glitch from Fnatic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was during the group stage though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then, okay, well, so yeah, we'll get into that drama. So in case you didn't know, there was some drama during the Invitational at large, where there were people abusing the Caveira glitch, where when you go into silent step while crouched, your model actually moves down into a slightly lower crouching stance, but your first person perspective stays up high, so you can actually see over certain objects, but your body is down below them, and you can shoot people. So
without being seen at all.
Right. Yeah. So you can shoot over the top of things without being seen. And there were a couple teams that were actually abusing it during the group stage.
I only saw it once, and that was from Lusty on Villa. But
yeah, there were. I think in total there were maybe 3 teams that actually abused it. And I'm actually remembering, or I'm forgetting which one was the major offense. It was against Liquid, and I want to say it was Maka. It was one of Maka's players doing it, but I forget who. But regardless, kind of doesn't matter. So
it kind of brings up because I've never even seen that glitch before ever. And then Get Flanked sort of discovers it and puts it up on YouTube, and now right before the Invitational, and now you got people abusing it
in the Invitational. Yeah, and I guarantee if he hadn't put that video up, that wouldn't have been a thing.
I tend to agree with you, and that's kind of my point. Where not to put all the blame on Get Flanked. YouTubers put out content as much as they can about anything, but where's the sort of it's a question to be asked: is there a responsibility that content creators have to not put those things on blast and tell the world how to do it?
And if I hadn't really, because I saw that video the day that it came out.
Right.
And Get Flanked even remarked that he was debating whether or not to even post it, but then he also said it's not like the Valkyrie, the old glitch on Bank with Valkyrie. It's not like that. It's not outrageously oppressive, and also sometimes
it's not uncounterable.
Yeah, and it's also something that you could totally do on accident.
Yeah, and I'm sure people have. I'm sure people have thousands of times done that on accident.
Yeah, for sure. And so the fact that you could totally do it on accident, when he made his argument for why he even put the video up, I totally agreed with him. I was like, oh yeah, totally, yeah. People are gonna be doing this on accident anyway, so you should be aware that when you drone a Caveira down at 90 on Villa, that there's a chance you won't be able to see her, and you should know about that, and then just pre-fire low or whatever. I kind of just shook my head and agreed with that. But now that I think about it more, the idea of putting that out right before the Invitational just seems dumber and dumber the more I think about it.
Yeah, to be fair to, in his defense, it didn't affect the outcomes of any of the matches that I could tell. Like, it didn't give Machina a leg up. It didn't give Fnatic a leg up.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever other team abused it, I didn't catch. But as far as I can tell, it didn't affect the game as a whole. It might have affected a round here or there. Like, I know for sure that Fnatic one that Lusty did get a kill, and the opposing player was like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Because Caveira was invisible on his screen.
Yep.
And he was even lean spamming. Like, I remember it specifically. He was pointed down 90 hallway on Villa, crouched behind the little box desk thing.
Yeah.
And just lean spamming like no tomorrow while crouched in silent step.
Mm-hmm.
And completely unhittable, really. I mean, that was crazy.
And I find it really hard to actually call any team or any player who does that a scumbag. Like, I don't think if you do that, you're a total scumbag, because there is a shitload of money on the line.
Well, and ultimately, I mean, the buck stops at Ubisoft, right? Ultimately, all the blame rests on them. And even Get Flanked said, I'm putting this video out to put this on blast so that Ubisoft will fix this immediately. But I think there are other ways to go about that. I mean, you could submit a bug report. You could, DM one of the devs.
Or you could just at the very least wait until the invitational is over.
Yeah, at the very least. I probably would have done that as well. But
because, I mean, I'm sure that video got a ton of views, and I'm sure it's bringing him in some revenue. But it would have brought him in a ton of revenue after the invitational too.
Yeah, probably not as much.
Actually, there's even a case to be made, like, because it was being done at the invitational, that video probably got more views. So great job, Get Flanked.
Yeah. I mean,
like, I don't want to put Get Flanked on blast too bad.
Nah.
But I do.
I mean, I'm subbed to Get Flanked. I watch the Hot Breach podcast that he's a part of. I appreciate the content he puts out. I think that his content is skewed more towards the more casual side of things. I think he considers his channel like a channel of the common person.
Yeah.
Where if you notice that the tact that he takes when contributing to conversations is that he's always coming from the side of like the 99%, quote unquote.
Right.
So I think he does a valuable service for the community. But I do agree that it was a boneheaded move to put out that video and say, hey, look at this cool glitch. Not cool, but hey, look at this glitch I found that I'm showing you all how to do.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not accusing him of putting it out right before the invitational in order to get more views.
No,
in
it's
order
not
to make more money.
profiteering.
I don't think that's the case. But I do think that it was definitely boneheaded, just like you said.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, I think that he probably feels the exact same way. That I guarantee that after seeing people use that glitch at the invitational, he was probably face palming like, oh shit, what did I do? Like, I'm gonna catch flack for this for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just a lesson learned. You take that sort of thing directly to the devs first, in my opinion, and say, hey, look, I found this glitch. I got a video about it. I'm not gonna put it up until I can get some guarantees from you guys that you're going to patch it soon. If not, then I just won't put it up at all, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody involved in this entire situation was in a shitty spot because, like, the players who had to play with it and against it. Well, I mean, nobody had to play with it, but like,
no,
it was accessible to all players. So there's always the fear of what if they do it to us? We'll just do it to them.
Right.
Which brings us around to how there were certain teams who did a gentleman's agreement to not use that. And then, we'll get into the other thing that they gentleman agreement to in just a second. But so it puts teams in the situation where they would like to gentleman's agree to it. However, one of the points that I made on a post about it on Reddit was that any weird random glitch like that, anything that could be considered more random or anything that kind of like throws a monkey in the wrench of normal play, usually
a monkey in the wrench. Is that what we're saying now?
I don't know. I'm just using that. That's what.
I'm owning it. You gotta. I love it.
Yeah, there's a monkey in the wrench. Anyway, anything that like makes the game go kind of off the rails like that,
sure,
is usually going to benefit the team that is worse. So, and the example that I give is items in Smash Brothers. So when you have items turned on, which isn't how they play tournaments,
right,
it benefits the worst player because there's a lot of random chance of when an item will drop and where it will drop, and like, will you have access to it or will they? So there's all this random chances kind of thrown into the game that will end up over time benefiting the worst player. Like, it's possible for the worst player to beat the best player, or the worst player to beat the better player, when there's more random stuff involved.
Yeah, I think it's why people dislike RNG elements in any game.
Yeah. And so between the Kavera glitch and then the Wind Bastion uniforms that a lot of teams were running, especially on any tan map at all.
The pizza uniforms.
Yeah, so like the Wind Bastion uniforms all blend in really well into like Consulate's floor to a degree that is like kind of unnatural. And there were full teams.
And they blend in with each other as well. I mean, it's hard to even tell who's who.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who you've killed or who. Well, I mean, who killed you is usually fairly obvious, but like it's hard to tell who you've killed sometimes because they all look the same. So there were teams that would gentleman's agreement, and there was this drama because Liquid offered Mocket to gentleman's agreement to not use the Kavera glitch and not use the Wind Bastion uniforms, and they didn't take it. Presumably because they considered themselves the underdog and wanted a little bit more of that random chance, and they thought it would benefit them in order to beat Liquid. Which I understand that viewpoint, and I don't even consider it scummy because it's there in the game. It's obviously stupid, but I blame Ubisoft 100%.
Exactly. I mean, they're using the skins for the current season of Rainbow Six. I mean, if it were any other type of uniform, it would be just promoting the game. It's like, hey, this is the season that we're in. Look at these uniforms. It's like players promoting the game to the crowds. But because the uniforms were not necessarily poorly designed, but maybe not thought out 100%, that now it becomes a problem, and that is 100% Ubisoft's fault. I agree.
Yeah. So at least luckily in the bracket, in the top 8, every single team,
it didn't make a difference.
Yeah, every single team agreed to just not use them, so
yeah,
worked out fine. Honestly, I would have preferred the ESL just banned Kavera for the entire tournament, because that glitch was 100% of the reason she ever got picked at all this entire tournament.
True.
So just ban her. Like, it shouldn't even be that hard of a decision.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not like she's not Ashe, you know. Like banning her, it's not going to have an impact. Nobody plays Cav anyway. Like if you're playing Cav in competitive, like you're playing the game wrong.
Yeah, you're trolling if you're playing Cav in
basically. I mean, there are a handful of like really cool Cav plays, you know, interrogations or even like multiple interrogations for one. I think that was Jonas, right?
Yeah, against G2 on bank, or against EG on bank. I mean.
Yeah. But that's a once in a like season kind of thing.
Yeah, and even that play that he did wasn't necessarily a Kavera play. Like, he could have done that with any character. He just got a good flank, which you could say that it might have been because of the silent step he got around so quietly, but I think Vigil could have made that flank just fine.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
So yeah, Kavera's just not relevant in Pro League, and if there's something that abusive about her, I think just deleting her from the tournament is the way to go. But whatever, it ended up fine. Like, the top 8 was not affected, and even group stages wasn't really affected by it.
Nah, not really. It was still just kind of weird to see. I don't know, if I were to get flanked, and hypothetically if Cav had gotten banned for the whole tournament by ESL, like after the video that I would have put up as in his shoes, that would have made me feel simultaneously like proud and ashamed.
Yeah,
because like I'm the one that put out this information, but also like, hey, I'm the one that, you know, like I affected this whole tournament. Which, I mean, whatever. I think it's not as big of a deal now, but definitely a lesson learned, I think, on his side.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, that pretty much covers the entire Six Invitational.
It was such a good tournament. Yeah,
if you missed it,
biggest
go back and
prize
watch
pool.
The video.
Seriously,
especially that coastline between G2 and Empire.
Yeah, people are like, pro teams are going to be studying that match like in perpetuity for coastline. It's not even that it was a good match, but there's so many rounds You get to see 22 rounds of one map, both teams trying their absolute hardest, not saving any more strats. Everything's on the line. And it's just it was so good. I mean, I was rooting for Empire. So, I'm from NA. I'm not from the EU. I'm not, emotionally invested in either of these teams. But I just wanted to see somebody topple the giant. I wanted to see the David, win over the Goliath in this instance. And that's not exactly accurate because Empire is a great team. I mean, they are a great team.
Yeah, but I mean, they are a young team. Like
they're new,
straight out of CL. So.
So I was rooting for them. Like that whole Coastline match, I thought that they had a really good shot of winning Coastline, and I thought they had a pretty good shot of winning Bank, just from their play styles. But I think that by the time they even got to Bank, they were just exhausted.
Yeah, I think G2 just has some of the best minds in the entire game because Empire kind of plays a very loose, fluid form, and G2 was saving all these strats, and you kind of wonder they brought out these new strats, but are they going to keep working? Are they all just cheese strats, or are they something that the Empire is going to be able to counter after 10 rounds of seeing it? But they just kept winning and kept going back and forth, and it shook out in G2's favor. So it was really fun to watch.
It really was. So I guess moving on a bit now, something that was presented during the tournament was the Year 4 roadmap, which we've all been waiting for. It's almost Year 4 already, and we had virtually no information. So, I mean, I'm excited for the Year 4 roadmap. There are a lot of really, really cool things that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, there was a ton of exciting information.
There really was. I mean, we already know a lot about the upcoming season. The Australian operators, we're already playing them on the test server, Mozzie and Gridlock.
Yeah.
And the new map is really good.
Yes. I don't know if you can taste the tension coming out of my mouth though.
I hear it a bit.
The season would be awesome. And all the elements are there. All the pieces to the puzzle are there. There's new ops that seem pretty cool. They both seem at least fairly balanced on launch, which is interesting.
Yeah, Mozzie. I like Mozzie a lot. I'm not a huge fan of Gridlock, but
yeah, I think Gridlock will have her place. I think she will be situational, but I think she will be useful. Mostly because she has smokes and a shotgun.
Right. Yeah.
So, those two things alone are going to make her at least somewhat desirable.
Her gadget is so loud. Oh, my God.
It's incredibly loud, and I think that she's going to be useful on getting plant down, partially because her gadget is so loud.
That, and it's also good for post-plant. Imagine just planting the diffuser and then tossing out one of those things on top of it.
Yeah, it's almost like you've jackal-tracked somebody if they're trying to retake through that. So... the two new ops seem great. The map seems awesome. I haven't gotten enough play on it to know for sure, but it feels the right size, and none of the rooms I was in felt like they were just really stupid. There's nothing dumb like the atrium on Skyscraper. There's not a billion winding hallways on Fortress. There's a lot of hallways, but they're kind of all big long ones. It almost feels like there's two yachts kind of making an L, but a lot smaller. And only 2 stories instead of 4 stories like a yacht.
That is an interesting way to look at it. There was one bomb site that I felt was kind of dumb. And that was the one that's upstairs next to the garage.
Which I feel like because every map at least has their one stupid stepchild site. Yeah,
I mean, there's a chance that this site might not actually be bad. But just looking at the sort of design, it's the bomb site. And there's a doorway and then a big ass double window right next to it that lead directly into the upper garage where there's 2 or 3 entrance points.
Yeah.
So it's really visible, and it just seems kind of crazy. You either have to hold upper garage or you're kind of boned. But maybe I didn't get to explore it a lot. Maybe there's a good way to hold it from the other site and not play anybody in there, like the same way you sort of play Penthouse Theater on Coastline.
Yeah, I think, and especially because there's so many soft floors, I think it might be okay based on that, but you just got to learn
Mhm.
them. Um, so yeah, like new map looks sweet. I like the new gadgets more or less. Like it's all this cool
But
stuff. And we found out they're gonna rework like three of the old maps.
yes, thank
They're gonna
God.
rework cafe.
Thank
It's
the
gonna be
Lord.
in order of the season. So season 2 will be cafe, season 3 will be
Canal.
canal, and then season 4 will be theme park. Like all three maps that could use an update. Like
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
three of those maps are like pretty weak. Like cafe is by far my least favorite
Mhm.
map in the ranked pool at the moment.
That's crazy to me. I mean, that's a separate argument. I like Cafe. Just
I
saying.
I absolutely despise cafe. Just about everything about it. Like every single site I hate. The
I love the
entirety
fact that
of the
it's all
map.
red. I love the fact that it plays that super loud music and piano.
Hmm.
I'm just kidding. Those are sarcasm, Pino.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they're fixing these three maps.
Canal to me seems weird because Canal seems pretty far from being viable in my eyes. Just the way that the
Um.
two buildings are split up. And I mean, if so, to me, they'd have to change how inaccessible each building is from each other,
Hmm.
and then also how visible it is from the outside. I mean, it's a ton of windows.
Hmm. Well, you saw that they're adding another bridge, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I
Um,
think between that and I hope they just like close up a few windows. Because they're
like half of them.
yeah, because it is really frustrating to just move around on the outside of that map. Like, there's just a ton of windows that face,
Hmm.
especially in the middle between the two buildings. There's just
Yeah,
a
there's
lot
like
of places to
nine
look.
windows facing each other.
Yeah, which like I completely understand that if you get spawn peaked, it's your own fault. But at the same time, it's kind of ridiculous to assume that I can watch like 7 windows at the same time.
Yeah, Canal's always had spawn peaking issues. I mean, going back to when you could auto kill somebody, in the construction spawn every round,
Yeah.
to the point where like you couldn't spawn there anymore, and then they had to fix the spawn. They moved some stuff around, and then they boarded
Hmm.
up that one window. And
Yeah, and
uh,
because honestly, I think the canal meta is actually pretty decent if they would just make the map a little bit more comfortable to ever be outside on.
yeah,
Um, the strats for that map kind of got really boiled down toward the end of its time in Pro League,
hmm
but at the same time, I think there was a lot of kind of opportunity if they would just tweak a few things about the map that would make it work really well. I'm hoping it comes back and it's actually really good because I don't think it's necessarily that far off from being really good, but
it's farther.
we'll see.
In my opinion, it's farther than Cafe and Theme Park. But I mean, yeah, we'll
Hmm.
have to see. I mean, some of the reworks in the past have gone really, really well. Like Clubhouse, I think Clubhouse is probably my favorite map now in the whole pool.
Yeah, it's really good.
After the buff, I love it. Actually, it has 3 really good bomb sites and one absolutely god awful one that nobody ever goes to.
Which I've actually been meaning to go back to the Cloud9 strats from like really early last season,
Hmm.
or actually this season, I guess. Uh, and just like watching what they do because they went there a lot and I think they had a positive win loss on it.
Hmm.
But yeah, nobody else goes there, and probably for good reason. But I would like to see
It's
what Cloud9 was doing and really
it's
study
hard
it.
to hold, but I think Theme Park is pretty close to being a good map as well. I mean,
Yeah, of all the non-Pro League maps that are in the ranked pool,
mhm.
Theme Park is probably the one that makes me sigh the least.
Yeah, yeah, it's really not bad. I mean, Spooky is weird and kind of a maze, and I'm still not really super comfortable down there.
Hmm.
But like, Drug Lab is fine. Bunk Daycare is fine, and whatever the other one's called, I forget.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned that they're gonna make train even easier to flank around in. Which,
Is that? I
although
mean,
half the time I don't know which thing is the problem, whether it's easier to flank or whether it's like easy to lock down. Like it is easy to lock down, but at the same time, you can kind of you can pop the wall in initiation. You
mhm.
can come through the doorway in the middle hall, or you can go through the window at office. So I feel there are a lot of opportunities to just roam, but again, there's only like 2 staircases, one on each end of the map. So
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about the map is just off and it needs to be fixed, and
Yeah.
hopefully they just figure it out, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like initiation is the perfectly fine site. I think that the train. I think the problem is train, but you're right. It's hard to tell. Like if you attack train, it's relatively easy to hold the flank. You know, there's a doorway and a window from the other side, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't attack from train, then getting flanked from train is a problem. I don't know.
Yeah, because if you try to push into cafe, then somebody,
Mhm.
a defender just sitting in train can just hold that line of sight. Like you've got to send somebody there, but you almost need more people than you can afford to send there if you're also planning to
Mhm.
go through cafe, or if you're trying to like come up yellow stairs, or if you're trying to like get on the bunk windows. So like there's kind of too many places to watch, and if you don't go to one of them, you can get shot from the other ones. So I don't know. There's just a lot of issues in how to attack it.
Yeah, well, and it'll be interesting to see. You know, they haven't really so the other two maps, Cafe and Canal, they already basically have done.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the concept art, they have the floor plans, they know what it's going to look like and how it's going to play for the most part. I'm sure they're probably still tweaking both of them,
Yeah.
but as far as theme park goes, they basically only have a concept. You know, they don't have the artwork. They don't know what it's going to look like yet. It's just all they have is that they know that they want to do it, basically.
Yeah, and they've kind of pinpointed what they want to change, which was
a little bit. Yeah.
which was train, gargoyle, and then also the spooky stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I don't know. I think that'll be fine too. So like yeah, those three maps getting rework, great. So like
it is great.
everything about year 4 should be great, right? Perfect. Nothing wrong about year 4. We're about headed into the best year of Siege we've ever experienced in our entire lives.
I think so. I mean, you know, sarcastic undertone aside, I honestly think that this is going to be the best year of Siege ever.
And I hope that I'm eating my words when I say this, but I think year 4, season 1, at the very least, is going to be one of the worst seasons of Siege ever because they still don't give a shit about ranked. They are doing absolutely nothing to ranked at all in year 4, season 1, other than the fact that they're adding Outbreak or Outback, the map.
Outback. Yeah.
Bring back Outbreak.
No, not Outbreak. They gave us Line. It's got me all PTSD'd.
So they're taking the ranked map pool from 13 maps, which is already too many maps, up to 14 maps, which is way too many maps. And the community has already given their firm opinion that Fortress is a terrible map.
Yep.
Hereford is a terrible map. Almost nobody likes Skyscraper anymore.
True.
Like, Cafe is still garbage.
And they're reworking Cafe. They already know this.
Yeah, they've already acknowledged that Cafe is bad and the theme park is bad, but they're not pulling them from ranked. Like if you put out a like a poll today and just ask the entire Siege community, like rank all 14 of these maps, I guarantee it would just be the 7 Pro League maps on top, maybe with like Chalet on top of Villa. Like I think the casual player tends to dislike Villa at least the most out of the Pro League maps. And like
I like Villa a lot, but
yeah, I think it has a lot of good things. I just think the casual player is more prone to disliking Villa, more or less because it's new and they haven't learned it enough yet.
There's a large part of the population that just hates on stuff because they're new.
Yeah, and so like, and I totally understand that because if something's new and you just like can't figure out what's going on in it, it's frustrating. I get that. So like you'll have things kind of sway that way, but in general, you'll have the 7 Pro League maps at the top of that distribution of everybody's favorite maps, and then down at the very bottom, you'll have Fortress, Theme Park, Hereford, Skyscraper, Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to play on these maps.
No.
And they're still just leaving them in ranked. You're creating the situation where people who want to play ranked have to learn all 14 of these maps. Like, there are people who still, like, if I say the word, like, supply room on Border, there are still people who were around when Border came out that don't know what supply room is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, they're the people who haven't played as much as you and I have, but
Right.
you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to lose out on enjoyment of the game just because you haven't played it like 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what they're
agree.
doing by having 14 maps in the ranked pool.
It's a lot. It really is. I mean, especially like if you were a new player. Like I recently, switched to PC from console, and I didn't play for a long time. And during that time, maps were released like theme park and tower, which tower is whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like villa, where to this day, after hundreds of hours on PC, I am still pretty uncomfortable on parts of those maps, and I play a lot. It's like I learn stuff pretty quickly, and I'm still just lost completely on some parts of some of those maps. So for a new player coming in to step into ranked, and let's say you get villa, or like you've never played chalet really before, and you get chalet, like good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck not being completely garbage.
Yeah, and so like that's the argument for just like new players in general. 14 maps is too many, period. In a game that is so reliant on map knowledge, 14 maps is just way too many, period.
Yeah, true.
And like that doesn't even affect me, although that does piss me off because I want people to find this game more accessible.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that you also want to play better maps when you play ranked, I think.
Right. As a player who like is way more invested in this game than the average person, I'm like, I watch a lot of Pro League. I want this game to be super fun. I want to take this game seriously. I want to play on serious maps. And there's at least 7 maps in this pool that I know for a fact. Well, I don't know for a fact about Outback yet, but I think it looks good. So maybe there's only 6 maps.
Outback, yeah.
So
and we'll transition into that probably next. But
yeah, so there's at least 6 maps that I know just because I know, like they're just bad maps. Like they're not good. I don't want to play on them. I don't want to play on Skyscraper anymore. Like stop putting me there. Like why am I still playing on Hereford after like an entire season of people saying that this map is garbage? It's the same thing as like how they almost put Tower into the ranked pool last season.
Yeah.
And like I'm
gonna pass on that.
Yeah, like I don't know for a fact that they were gonna even take it out of the ranked pool until, I mean, I'm gonna toot my own horn, but I put a post up on the main sub that just pointed out there was a straw poll put up. Like Lord Karen, one of the mods of r/Rainbow6, every season he just like does a recap. Like he does this poll where everybody says these are my favorite maps, these are my least favorite maps, these are the ops that I like, these are the ops I think are the weakest. And the most hated map by far was Tower. Like everybody hated it, but it was still sitting in the ranked pool. So I took a screenshot of that and I put a post up on the subreddit, and it got a shitload of upvotes. So like it was on the top page, or it was like on the front page of r/Rainbow6 for a day, and it was just saying like everybody hates this map. Why is Ubisoft still putting us in here in ranked? And then like a few days later, they announced that they were going to be taking it out of the ranked pool. Like whether or not it was me that actually caused that to happen, like it just shows that like they either like teasing us that they're going to put terrible maps in ranked, and maybe some of these maps are going to be pulled out of ranked before Burnt Horizon actually comes out, but I'm just still assuming that all 14 of these maps are going to be in ranked, and it gives,
well, they haven't said otherwise, so
yeah, and it gives me very little reason to even want to play ranked, because I know about half of the maps that I play on are just going to be garbage and not relevant to me. Like they're not going to be relevant to me as a player who wants to get better at this game.
Right. Well, and it sort of delegitimizes, wins and losses on those maps. Like Cafe, for instance, if you start on like defense first, and you win your upstairs and you win, but then you like, let's say you have to go down to bakery and you lose that, like it delegitimizes your losses because there's only 2 even remotely acceptable sites on that map.
Yeah,
and they already know,
almost every single time you play Cafe, I would say at least 40% of the time, probably more like 50% of the time, it just goes like both teams win both of their top floor defenses, and then both teams lose their bakery defense, and then it goes to overtime, and whoever gets defense wins.
Yeah.
Or
basically,
like,
I mean, that's what happened last time I played Cafe.
Half the time, whenever that happens, like whoever gets attack wins, just based on a fluke. Like somebody always finds a way to just like pull it out of their ass and win, despite getting the raw deal. But like way too many times does that map go that way. Like just everybody wins their top floor defenses, everybody loses their bottom floor because that's just how bad the map is.
Yeah, and I mean it's also really formulaic. You spend most of your time fighting over piano anyway, so
yeah, like every single map goes exactly the same. You just get on the roof, drop the hatch, go through piano,
blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. But yeah, Cafe especially. I mean, I think that since they know that they're already going to rework it, I think it's sort of unacceptable just to leave it in as it is. Like, hey, we know that this is bad, but it's fine. Just deal with it until we fix it.
Yeah, and then it's also really frustrating that the SI playlist got so much like praise from the community, and then literally none of it is making its way into ranked this season.
Not this season. Yeah, they're putting the pick and bans in season 2, which is going to be amazing.
Which and that's the only thing that they've confirmed that they will be adding in season 2, though.
Right.
That's the other fear that I have.
No round switching.
Yeah, they haven't announced like limiting the map pool. They haven't even announced like extending the plant timer
to 7 seconds, which is great, which I love.
Yeah, so like there were all these cool things about SI: the plant timer, the map pool, the like playing all of your defense in a row and then attack on a row. They're like all these great things, and then it gets such a good feedback from the community, and then none of it.
And I think that introducing the pick and bans is just the first step. I think that by the end of this year, at the very least, we're going to see the game modes sort of look a lot more like the Pro League match or settings. But yeah, it's incremental change, and I agree that it's just not fast enough for me. I'm the type of person where I think that you should just change the whole game. I don't care about people in casual that get upset when you change the way that it plays. I honestly don't.
Yeah,
I like the newcomer playlist that they're adding, which I think is a fantastic thing. I think changing the ranked threshold to level 30 is also very good for the game. It's going to give people a lot more opportunity to learn before they jump into a setting that is much more difficult.
Yeah, like the newcomer playlist is arguably more competitive than the ranked playlist, because newcomer playlist has like 3 decent maps. Like it's got Chalet, but like whatever, Chalet is fine.
Bank and Consulate, right? Are the other 2?
Yeah, I think it's Bank and Consulate are the other 2. So like you've got that, and it's bomb only, which like if you just change your settings to only play on bomb, you're only going to play on bomb. So like that's fine, whatever.
I mean, everybody should only play on bomb. Secure area and hostage are just take them out of the game.
Yeah, they're meme game types. But basically, at least I don't have to play them. Like I could just turn them off and I never have to play them.
Not if you want all of your achievements, though. I will say.
Oh yeah, I still have to get that one achievement for like
I know.
find the secure or find the container like within 15 seconds or something stupid like that.
Well, and there's one like win a TDM or win a secure area on Clubhouse, and Kyler and I played secure area last night until we got Clubhouse, but we lost it. It sucked.
I think I accidentally won that one time because I was playing with somebody I don't normally play with, and they had secure on, and we just happened to get Clubhouse and win.
Man, the people you meet in secure area too, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's casual, and it's like bar on Clubhouse, and they shred you because it's bar on Clubhouse secure area. And they're just like talking all this trash, like, oh, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just, oh man, it's hilarious to me.
Yeah. So,
yeah, sorry.
So yeah, they're adding the newcomer playlist, which is great. Like they're doing all this cool stuff, and they're even like updating casual. Casual looks like it's gonna be way more fun than it's ever been because now you get
Hmm.
the 3 minute 30 second timer, which is good.
Perfect.
And then you get to vote on your attack spawn. Like everybody still has
Hmm.
to spawn
Spawn
together,
together,
but
right?
like you get
Which
to
is good.
choose which side you go to.
Yeah.
And then defense gets to pick where they go, which is great. Like
Defense gets shown
oh,
where they're
you're
going.
right.
They don't get to pick,
That's right.
which is still an improvement, and that's actually exactly what I called for.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a couple weeks ago, because I put, again, pat me on the back. I commented on somebody's YouTube video, said, "Hey, this is what I want to see for the casual playlist," and actually, it's pretty much all there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think making all the attackers spawn together adds an
It's fine.
yeah, like it's a nice in between from like what casual used to be to what casual
Spawning wherever.
Yeah, to like the ranked where you get to spawn wherever you want. So it's a nice in between, and you've got that extra 30 seconds. Like if you wanted to go lone wolf it like through some other direction, you can just go do that, and you've got 30 extra seconds in order to get there.
Well,
so
yeah, it helps sort of
works
engender
well, I think.
the teamwork aspect of the game if everybody's together.
Yeah.
But also letting them choose where is great. I mean, showing the defenders where they're going to be going, I think gives them a little bit of an advantage over the attackers. But most maps, you can just kind of guess. Like, you pretty much know where the first preferable site is.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess no, because I guess it'll be random. So the defenders won't choose. They'll be shown, but the attackers won't know.
Yeah, like I and this is kind of a thing that I wondered.
I wonder
earlier.
if you can change your vote. I wonder if you can change your spawn vote like mid droning phase in casual.
Good question. I don't know.
Because that would be more fair to me. Like if you could drone it out and say, "Oh, hey, they got this bomb site. We should change our spawns."
Yeah, because I do
whatever.
I do think showing the defense which site they're going to before they pick their ops is a little bit slanted toward defenders, because the defenders will know exactly where they're going and get to pick the perfect ops, but the attackers won't have any idea where they're going, so they just have to pick the right ops, period, which isn't any different from the way casual used to be, but at least you had the trade-off of the defenders also didn't know where they're going, so they might not be picking the perfect ops to go there.
Yeah, which now they can.
Yeah, so I think it'll probably slant casual a little bit farther to the defense, but it's casual. It doesn't actually matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Anybody who's trash talking in casual, just get a life. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, for sure. So my desire is that this coming season they at least take a couple of these maps out of the rank pool. Like if that's all I can get,
yeah.
I'll
Cafe
take
for
it,
sure.
I guess. Like just please get rid of Cafe. Please get rid of Fortress and New Hereford. Like they don't need to be in ranked. So
I would agree with Cafe and Hereford for sure. I am on the fence about Fortress because I think Fortress has the potential to be a pretty decent map. I don't think it's terrible. I just think people are hating on it because it's new.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that, but I think we kind of touched on it on a previous episode about the way it's set up and how it's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. I would just like to see it taken down to the 7 Pro League maps, obviously, but I won't get that, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, so moving on to sort of Outback, the newest map, playing it on the TS, it actually feels really good. It's well lit. It's brightly colored. I already feel like I sort of know the layout, even though I only played it like maybe 6 or 8 times in one day,
Yeah.
It's really easy to learn, and there's a lot of soft destruction, a ton.
Oh yeah.
There are some sites where I don't know, like the quote unquote main site that's upstairs seems kind of spread out to me. It's like one bomb site that's like diagonal to the other. It's kind of interesting to figure out what kind of rotates you want through that, but it's got really good mirror window placement areas. It's got really good like corridors and pathing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
It seems like a great map to me.
It's like both of the bomb rooms are separated by a hallway, correct?
Yeah.
So it might end up feeling a little bit like Office and Initiation on Theme Park, where you've got like some doorways that like look at a soft wall into the other room, and then you make it rotate there.
Yeah, kind of. Except they're at a diagonal to each other.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
So there's like a 4-room square, and then 2 of the rooms that are diagonal to each other are the bomb rooms, and then the other 2 are not.
Huh. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it is. And then one of the rooms looks into the bowl room, the room with the big mechanical bowl. And I remember the first time I played that room, the Gridlock was on the other team and tossed her gadget out. And I had no idea what that sound was. I was like, because it made this really loud, like ratchety, like clanky sound. I was like, what is that? Like, is this the stupid bull? Like, because if this bull makes that sound every time I play here, like, that's going to make me upset.
Yeah.
But no, it was her gadget going off. And I was like, Jesus, it's so loud. Which is good. I mean, better than it being like completely silent. But it's counterable. It's fine. But yeah, I do like the new map. Just saying. Just first impressions. Like it.
Yeah, same.
That reminds me too, because in the year 4 roadmap, they also were talking about balancing operators, certain operators, and which we already touched on sort of last episode a little bit. But the specific way that they're going to rework Lion was released, reworking Glaz as well, which was really, I thought was
creative,
brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was absolutely, like, when I saw that, I was like, I'm stunned. That's 300 IQ, Glaz nerf right there. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit disappointed in the way they decided to go about fixing Lion, because like it keeps exactly the same style, I guess, so to say, but it's like, it seems like just a straight nerf, which I'm fine.
It's a huge nerf,
which I'm like fine with, although it also just seems like it seems lazy, I guess I'll say. It seems like a very lazy fix. Like, it's just, it's faster and it only pings.
It seems like an easier fix than maybe like going in and recoding what,
yeah,
how the range on it, or like, I would have liked to have seen a more proximity based, like, let him hunt roamers, let him pin people down in spots, but make it within proximity to his person.
Yeah, I just think that,
or to some kind of throwable or something.
Yeah, I think that the way they did it, it just makes him a strictly worse version of Jackal in a lot of ways, because you're still getting the information, maybe, but you still have to drone it out. So, like, the best you're going to get is just some pings, which is what you would get with Jackal, guaranteed, as long as you just found their feet. With Lion, you just have to rely on them moving in order to know where they're at. Like, you're not getting any for sure information, but you also don't get to pin people down quite the same way.
I think it's going to be... Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, I don't know about necessarily worse than Jackal, but sort of a Jackal replacement, like a side grade.
Yeah, like since the activation time... Well, the activation time is really short, but like since the actual active time is so short, then
the duration is much shorter.
Doesn't really lose out on much by just stand still. Like, the old just stand still is kind of true in this because it's so short.
Yeah, but with a shorter activation time, you're going to catch a lot more people out, I think.
Yeah, that might be true.
in poor positions. So, and also you get pings on everybody who moves, not where Jackal, you're tracking one person at a time.
Yeah.
So I think it just sort of depends. To me, the Lion rework is almost more geared toward like a post plant hold than a roam hunt. Imagine like in the way that Lion works now, keeping him alive to a post plant is just GG.
Yeah,
but
I think I don't know, just because they don't have to stand still very long, I don't even know if it's... I mean, it'll definitely affect rounds, I'm sure, but it just feels like it might just do nothing. But who knows?
I'm still fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with him doing nothing versus what it does now.
Yeah, 100%. I just wish they would have done more with it. I wish they would have done something more interesting that was actually like different than what it already was.
Yeah.
But
and we talked about the Dokkaebi thing last episode.
Correct. Yeah, they didn't show anything new. The only new stuff was the Glass. Oh yeah, which we should just like mention the Glass thing real quick.
Glass is great.
Yeah, so if you stand still for like a second or whatever, it looked like it was probably around a second. Then your thermal scope kicks in. While you're moving, it turns off and you can't see through smoke.
Yeah, and it's directly tied to your rate of movement. So if you're like moving slowly, you can still see it a little bit, and it scales up and down based, like if you're at full sprint or if you're at full walk, I guess, if you're scoped in, no thermal vision at all. But the slower you are, like if you're walking, for instance, it'll probably be like half. And then if you stand still, that's when it cycles up to full brightness of the thermal scope, which is just great. I mean,
yeah, it puts him in the exact role that he needed to be in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
I do think there's a chance that he might be just a little too weak. Just it kind of depends on what you're trying to do with him. Like, because he's really good at holding down a line of sight while your teammates are planting. But but if he has to move even a little bit, then like I'm just thinking of maybe getting the plant down in default spot in Oregon basement. And he puts down a layer of smoke under the hatch so that he can watch the hallway.
Yep.
But if he needs to kill somebody coming from the cubby to the right, like you don't really have time to move and then sit still and then see through the smoke, which I understand that's exactly what they were trying to stop, but it almost seems like it could end up being such a long amount of time in order to get your thermal scope back on that it might just be completely ineffectual.
I disagree. I mean, I think it's going to change his play style a lot. But I think that players can work around it. Like, so in that hypothetical, let's say you're planting default, you got your smoke down, you're at the bottom of the stairs, you're holding the hallway. And let's say you pick somebody or don't, you get a call out, somebody's in cubby or laundry. And then, so you quickly sprint to second default spot behind the baskets. And so you post up there instead and then stand still.
Yeah, and although I think the other thing it might force people to do is just stand in a more susceptible spot. Like you might just go all the way to the bottom of the stairs in that particular situation. Just like go all the way to the bottom of the stairs, and then you can watch both, but you're way more exposed. Like it'll force you to expose more of your body in order to get all the angles that you need to see, because you need to get there and sit there for a second before your thermal scope turns back on.
It's not like Glass was completely useless before the buff, right? Like he wasn't as good, not nearly, but he still got played and he still had a role. You know, it's not like people need the thermals to be able to see and kill people through smoke, certainly, but that's not his only use. And now I think it's just overall a fantastic change.
Yeah,
and,
agreed. I think it'll probably end up being just fine. I'm just throwing that out there as a hypothetical. It could potentially be a little weak, but I think it'll probably be fine.
Again, fine with Glass being weak. Totally down.
Yeah, I'm not that bothered by it.
He's another one of those operators that's considered cheese a lot of the time. So to have him sort of brought down into the realm of mortals, to where you can bring him and people don't go, oh, this fucking guy.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really nice to just open up that ban spot, because I think a lot of teams just default ban Glass on certain maps just because he's so oppressive on certain sites. Like on basically any site on Coastline, he's just really, really strong. So I think it might be nice to just have a completely fine and balanced Glass, and then you get to use your ban on something more creative on Coastline specifically, but I'm sure on other maps as well.
Right.
So yeah, overall.
So that's, change. I think so too. That was really the only operator things that they talked about. They did also have a thing about the TK that they're trying to address. Did you want to get into that real quick?
Oh yeah. I have questionable faith in this being a good change, but I guess we'll see. So, oh yeah, and actually related to that is the reset changes. So, so what? Wait, what?
The reverse team kill damage.
Right. Yeah. So the reverse team kill damage, as soon as you team kill one person, it'll pop up on your screen. It'll say like reverse reverse damage enabled or mirrored. I think it might be called mirror damage.
I don't know.
It'll let you know that it's turned on, and from that point on,
Yeah.
anytime you shoot a teammate, you'll damage yourself instead. And actually,
And it's directly related too. So if you shoot them, you do as much damage to yourself as you would have done to them. So if you headshot them, you immediately die.
right. Although I did notice that it uses your own armor. So like if you shoot a 1 armor but you're a 3 armor, you will deal 3 armor damage. So if you're a 3 armor, you'll do less damage to yourself. It'll be as if you're shooting yourself. Not that that's a huge thing, but so now it's just like as soon as you team kill one person, you just automatically can't team kill another person. There's a few situations where I think it could be really trolly and probably not that great for the game, but overall I think it's probably a fine change. So like one of the instances I think it could be a little messed up on is, so say you're Thermite and you accidentally team kill someone. Say you were like trying to shoot a default cam and somebody walked in your way and you shot him in the head. Now you have mirror damage turned on. It would be possible at that point for if you go up to a wall and you hit the button, start popping it open, your exothermic charge is going off. If you have a teammate run right up into it and just take it, hopefully they've thought this through, because that's one of those situations where if you team kill someone with a thermite charge, it doesn't count towards your team kills, because obviously the only way one of your teammates could die to that is if they meant to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they coded this in.
Or they're just really that bad.
Right. So I'm hoping they coded it in that doesn't happen. Like, they should still take damage from that.
Well,
not only because that would be something trolly for a teammate to do to you, but also because it would allow them to sprint through a thermite charge as it goes off and run straight into sight, not taking any damage.
Yeah, and just
so it'd be like the ultimate rush. Also, I'm a little bit,
or like a fuse charge or something.
Yeah. Like, think about that. If you team kill someone as fuse, you can send in a teammate while your fuse charge is going off,
just with God mode on.
Yeah, and they won't take any damage. You'll die, but they won't take any damage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not worth it, but it's a trolly thing that you could do. And hopefully in the thermite situation, they've thought that through. At least I can think of like a few other weird situations, like on defense, if you had a C4 or like a smoke, even like if you were a smoke and you team killed somebody like 3 rounds back, and then you wanted to just chuck a smoke into a corner and then have a teammate run through it, not taking any damage.
I don't think I'm unsure whether it's cumulative over the course of the entire game, though. It might just be for the round.
I'm pretty sure it counts into the next rounds, because then you could just like team kill someone every round.
Yeah, but that's true. That's true.
And
that does
and
make
I don't know
sense.
I don't know if they're completely eliminating the whole like even kicking someone anymore. Like I don't know if you can
that's what
I don't know if you can get kicked from team killing anymore because of this.
Because that's what I'm thinking, and that's what my point was with the previous example that you gave. Was that with the system as it is now, if you TK somebody as thermite and then you kill another teammate, you're just kicked. You're gone. Goodbye. So that's much more detrimental to the team as a whole than just killing you and then playing out the round and then try again next round, I think.
Yeah.
And in terms of people that like troll TKing people, first of all, I see that a lot less than I used to, and then again, I don't play on console anymore, so I don't know how it's going on that front.
Yeah, team killing is definitely worse on console. I can vouch
for sure. Yeah. So I don't see it as much on PC, hardly at all, really, unless people are like already friends and know each other and they're just trolling each other.
Yeah.
But in the way it is now, you TK somebody and you TK another person, even by accident, then you're just kicked goodbye. And maybe even catch a ban, if it's too, you're doing it too much. But the way that this new system is, I don't think that they'll have to kick anybody, because then if you keep TKing people, you just keep killing yourself. And sure, that's a way to troll your whole team and make it harder for them to win, I guess. But like, if you're really going into matches and TKing yourself and just dying over and over again, first of all, that's really, really boring.
Yeah.
And you probably should just leave. And then that spot will get filled up by somebody. And in ranked, it's different. I'm not even sure if I like this system implemented in ranked because TKing is like troll TKing is not a problem in ranked. Like toxic TKs.
Well, I think it's not a problem.
Maybe in the lower elos.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily a problem in like high gold, platinum, where we are, and like.
Right.
But I've heard a lot of horror stories from some lower
yeah,
ranks.
that's true. Yeah, that's fair. So I don't know. It remains to be seen really how effective it's going to be. The other concern I had about it was the fact that you can't TK hackers as effectively anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the same principle. You know, you take turns TKing the hacker, and everybody gets one basically.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's the same system as before, except now you kill yourself instead of getting kicked.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's overall a good change. I think it's remains to be seen how effective it's going to be, but it's better than the system we have now. And I think if you add in a kind of forgiveness system on top of it, then it would be much better.
Yeah, actually I kind of just don't understand why they just didn't add a forgiveness system, because obviously that's just the right thing to do. At least it seems obvious to me. Maybe it's not for whatever reason.
I don't know how easy it would be to implement, but like I don't know how they track TKs. I don't know if they do it like per round or per game or per season or
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
So in order for them to forgive, they'd have to track it on like a per game basis, I think.
Yeah, maybe. But the other thing that this mirror damage affects, and this is the reason that I would prefer they just have a setting for custom games that you could turn off the mirror damage from TKing.
I hope they have that.
Yeah, they better. But I don't. We'll see, I guess. Because like, can you imagine that happening in Pro League? Like somebody accidentally TKs and then they just like deal damage to themselves on accident too. Like that would just be a complete shit show.
Yeah.
But
well, don't they already have TKs off in ranked or in Pro League? Like you can TK like unlimited times, basically.
Yeah, I think in custom games you can just TK at will. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's already fine. Like that shouldn't be an issue. So I assume mirror damage just maybe won't be on at all in custom games. At least I'm hoping. But we'll see.
Either won't be on at all or give it the option. But if it's mandatory, then yeah, that's not smart.
Yeah. But the other reason that mirror damage is kind of making things awkward is because it also makes it so there's this situation where say you've got a teammate who's at 15 health and you want to reset them, but you TK'd somebody 3 rounds ago, and now you can't reset them.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Which is, I think, part of the reason that they decided to make the new reset only reset you back to 20 health instead of 50.
Or getting picked up from being down at any time, whether or not you're being reset or not.
Right, yeah. So, like, if you...
Except for by doc, I guess.
Yeah, so, like, if
is this a sleeper doc buff?
Yeah, kind of. It's like a sleeper doc and, like, very many Finka buff, I guess, maybe. But,
yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I kind of don't like it because now you're just, like, there's almost no reason at all to ever reset somebody. Which I get that...
They made it a lot less viable.
Yeah, which I get the resetting is already kind of like weird and unintuitive, but
it's gimmicky. I don't think it was ever meant to be in the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever meant to be a strategy. And
I think it's cool. I think it's a really sort of creative way that players adapted to the game mechanics, and I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And it on accident just it has its own very balanced meta behind it. Like there's a risk and reward to whether or not you're going to try to reset somebody. Like you have to know how much damage each weapon does, and then know that you have to like maybe shoot them through a wall in the leg, or maybe like
damage drop offs.
Yeah, like sometimes if somebody wants a reset
whether
and they're at like 25 health, I know that I can just shoot them in the chest and it'll take them down to just like -3 health and they'll be fine. They'll be down but not out.
Sure.
And so there's like this kind of like game knowledge going on that you have to have an understanding of if you want to reset properly, and it takes time. Sometimes they have to rappel to the roof and jump off. Like it is weird. I get that. Like it's not intuitive. It's just awkward that you're dealing damage to yourself in order to heal yourself. But despite that, it has its own like benefits and drawbacks, and it takes time. Like you're basically spending time in order to get a little bit more health.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes a risk of like actually just dying while you're doing it.
True.
So I think it was fine the way it was, and I think that the only reason they're getting rid of it is because of this TK mirror damage.
Yeah.
At least
now
at least that's what I'm
the
calling
threshold for when you want to be reset is much lower.
Yeah, like basically the only time you want to reset ever is when
or
you're
higher,
below 10.
whatever. I don't know.
When you're below 10 on attack and they have a lesion. Because you're already at one shot from basically any weapon at all.
I would say if you're on defense and you let's say you spawn peak early in the round and get dropped down to below 20 health and you have a lot of time, then I would say that's probably still pretty viable. But yeah, I mean, from here on out, you're going to see a lot fewer resets.
Yeah, well, think about it though. On attack, what's going to deal less than 20 damage to you? There's almost nothing.
Yeah,
like
that's tough.
A couple, like the bearing 9.
Oh, and they changed the
range.
fall damage height as well, so that makes it even harder.
Yeah, so like there's so few things that won't just kill you outright when you're at 20 health that I don't see a situation on defense at all where you would ever reset. And I think it could potentially lead to Doc seeing a bit of a bump in play, which I don't think is necessary. Like I would.
Oh God,
I
no.
would prefer.
Please, no.
I would prefer Doc stay out of the meta. But I think he's just going to be even more meta now.
Not Doc.
So.
Yeah, I basically every time I see a Doc, I would rather have almost any other operator.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Doc.
Yeah, Doc's cool. He's an interesting character, but like if you're playing Doc, it's because you're trying to frag out.
Basically.
And that's the only reason.
Which is fine. He has his place. You know, he has an ACOG and, you know, he's a thick boy, can tank a bit, can heal himself, spawn peak and stuff like that. But, you know me, I'm more of a utility player, and I would rather see an Echo or a Maestro or a Mira or anybody else.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're changing that. It'll probably end up being fine. Like, it probably won't affect my life that much in the end. And especially, like, no. I don't know, maybe this is a bad example of a reason why it'll be fine, but, like, they're adding, like, more stuff into the game via operators and stuff. There's just more stuff to think about beyond resetting. I don't know if that's actually a good argument, but whatever. It'll probably
I think
be
it's
fine.
I mean, yeah, I think the simpler the better. For most people, this game is already really complicated.
Yeah.
So to add the mechanic of resetting into the sort of daily repertoire of every round, you might have to reset somebody. I think that sort of removing that aspect and letting players focus on other things is fine.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that common to the point where it needed to be in the game. Like, it's not going to affect every single round. Like, there wasn't somebody getting reset every single round anyway, so.
No, but I would say at least somebody gets reset at least once a game, though.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure it happens a lot more in Pro League. Like, basically, anytime anybody was less than, like, 40 health, that's a reset almost guaranteed.
Yeah. The other kind of...
If they had time.
The other kind of interesting thing it changes is the whole risk reward of not finishing your kill. So like say you're on the roam and you like catch some people coming into the map and you like go for the kill and you injure the person, but you can't confirm it because there's just like somebody else coming up to like watch it, and you get away. But the way it is now, that person gets reset to 50 and they can take at least one shot before they die. Like they might be a 3-shot kill depending on which weapon you're shooting them with.
Right. And it definitely is much greater loss if you don't finish your kill now than it will be after this change.
I think you mean that the other way around. It'll be less of a loss now because they'll only get reset to 20 and then they're only going to be one shot.
Right, that's what I meant. Yeah, after the change, it'll be a less of a big deal to let that person go.
Yeah, because you can just spray in their general direction and you'll kill them next time you see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're basically one shot. Like,
yeah, so they're changing that dynamic a little bit, which is, in my opinion, slightly regrettable. But again, it'll probably be fine, and I'm probably just making a big deal out of nothing.
I mean, putting the resets on the back burner in terms of mental capacity, I think is a benefit.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
I just like to see more simplicity. It's like the reason why Valkyrie still makes me kind of angry, is that she has the only throwable arc for her gadget, in the whole game. Everybody else's throwables go on one
yeah
arc and hers go on a different one. It's like people that play Valkyrie have to know this. Which I understand why, because she was throwing cams into the stratosphere when they changed everything. But
yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
It's still
it's
a little
the
upset.
same as a few other things. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not the same thing as grenades or EMPs or whatever.
No, it's not the same thing as anything anymore. It's its own special thing.
Yeah, not that there's a lot of intricate EMP throws that you really need to know for this game, but
no.
But yeah, it is a different arc, and it's regrettable that they would make this one thing just be weird and random.
Yeah. But yeah, that's looking ahead to year 4. It's looking really cool. I mean, I agree that the changes to ranked should come in a lot sooner and a lot more than what they have already said that they're going to do with just the pick and ban.
Mm-hmm.
I think that basically they could have taken the 6 invitational playlist and just slapped some elo on that and made it the new ranked, and I would have been perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, same.
I'd like to see more rounds. I'd like to see it go to 4 per side than 3, but other than that, perfectly fine. Love it. And kill cams. Bring the kill cams back because, hackers.
Yeah, I think having kill cams in online matchmaking is probably just the way to go. And it's
just necessary.
Yeah, and it doesn't make a huge difference for the game. Like you know that there's that freeze frame after you kill somebody, and unless you just don't know the maps well enough, you know exactly where the person is. So
yeah,
any information that you could have gotten from the kill cam, you have anyway with them turned off.
Pretty much. I mean, if you die to somebody and you didn't know where you died from, that's kind of your own fault in this game.
Yeah, for sure, especially with that freeze frame.
Yeah, especially with the freeze frame, but even without it, like if you're unsure where you died from, that's a problem for you as a player, because it's all the whole game is about angles. If you're unaware of the angles, then that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Which I understand that kill cams are a way to learn some of the angles, especially for new players, but I think that the aspect about kill cams that is the most important is just telling whether people are tracing you through walls, basically.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So in my opinion, if you're going to have the option of turning them on or off, if you turn them on, you should just see everything the way it is now. But if you turn them off, you shouldn't even get that little still frame showing where the person is that killed you. Like, if I can see your face and the background behind you, I know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
So having the kill cam turned off doesn't make any difference because I already know exactly where you are. So I might as well just get to see the kill cam.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why I make that practice playlist for the UNG team, the team that I coach. There's a practice playlist we play on that has kill cams turned on because you might as well have them on because you know where people are anyway. And if you die from something that you don't understand, you should just be able to see it. Whatever, have it be a learning experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they should make it so that if kill cams are turned off, you just don't get anything. If you die, maybe it shows you the person who killed you and their health, but just black out the background or something. I don't know, because it's pointless to have them turned off if you can tell where they are anyway.
I don't really even think that you need to show their health or who they are. If you're not going to have the kill cams on, then just full commit to denying that information, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I don't think it would change a whole lot if you didn't get to see their health. You're probably going to know who it was based on the kill feed and just seeing their gun.
Yeah. Or just seeing them, or maybe you didn't see them, but yeah, you definitely can tell based off the gun. And you can get an estimate of their health if you were actually in a gunfight with them and you hit them with a couple of shots. Then you can get a sort of estimate to their health.
Right. Yeah.
And knowing their health really isn't even that important. I mean,
yeah, it's not. It doesn't factor into a whole lot of fights. Like sometimes you can just tell
knowing
somebody
is low health.
Yeah, if you know somebody's like below 15, 20 health,
it can be important.
Then you know for a fact that you can just like spray with a shotgun at any.
Yeah, or toss a smoke grenade or something.
Yeah,
a smoke canister.
Yeah, there are moments where it's relevant, but if you not knowing it, I don't think would be a huge hindrance. I don't think it would change the game a whole lot, and I think it'd be fine. And then if you don't get to see who it is who killed you. It might even be more interesting because now it means you kind of have to like get in and scan the people so that you can at least see the name in the kill feed and you know which operator that is now. Mm-hmm. So,
or at least communicate with your teams off drones and stuff.
Yeah. So like if you die from a C4 from below and you don't get to see who it was or their health or anything, then it benefits you if your team was able to actually get in and scan them to know who's who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think that would be fine to add, but I mean, I'm sure none of this is actually going to get added in, but we're just kind of spewing our existential thoughts.
Siege is incremental change.
Yes.
They change things very slowly. It's very frustrating that it's taken 3 years to get to where we are now. But the progress is being made. I mean, if you recall how bad the game used to be, like pre-Operation Health and even back to like year one, we're leaps and bounds better than it used to be. And I remember playing through Operation Health, and of course it was a huge meme.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the memeiest season that there even was. But I honestly think that it was a good thing for the game, that it changed a lot, and not with what they implemented during the season, but sort of engendering that culture of trying to fix the game every season, where now in year 4, looking ahead to year 4, they have some pretty big stuff on the table. I mean, changing the UI, changing the playlists, changing the the biggest, most game-breaking operators, reworking a bunch of the maps, introducing new operators from like way different parts of the world, like Kenya and
Peru,
Norway, Peru.
I'm excited for Peru because I lived there
Mexico.
for a little while.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. That it's going to be an interesting year, and I think if by the end of year 4, looking back at this moment, I think the game is going to be a lot different and a lot better than we expect.
Yes.
So that's just me. That's just me looking forward. I got excited about the year 4 roadmap reveal because there's just a lot. There's a lot of stuff that they're bringing to this year that they seem like they're really committed to their goal of supporting the game for years to come. So that was exciting for me to see.
Yeah, agreed. I just don't understand why it can't happen this season.
I know, it's really disappointing. When I heard that they weren't introducing pick and ban until season 2, I was upset.
Yeah, like it's literally a checkbox. Like we know they're not holding it back because the technology isn't there. Like they already had.
Right. Yeah, the playlist, like it was in the game. For a month.
Like the SI playlist was there, and then they just take it away, and then there's nothing.
Yeah, I even made a video about it. It's called "Gone but Not Forgotten." Yeah, I think that's going to be about it. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
That is it.
Talk about?
That's all I got. So.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. This is episode 4
in the bag,
and in the books.
We both officially have our good microphones, so we hope it sounded nice for you.
Yeah, I hope this sounded nice for you.
So yeah, we're excited about that. Getting things sounding good. Getting excited for the future of the podcast. We're gonna try to get some good guests on pretty soon.
Some good guests, some more viewers, hopefully.
All of the above.
Listeners.
But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week. I will put the Twitter links in the description. Go check them out. Come hang with us on Twitter.
Thanks. Yeah.
Peace out.